Hello everyone, welcome back to Planet Zoo. My name is MTEN and this is the second episode of my Sandbox mode speed build series. If you haven't tuned in already, I previously have done an episode of my Nile monitor enclosure, but as you can probably tell, some of my zoo, or a decent portion of my zoo has already been completed. That's because my recording software wasn't working until much later, but luckily I've managed to get it to work, so we are currently working on the tropical trail for my zoo. So like I said, last episode we did the Nile monitor enclosure. Previously off camera I did the lemurs before I was able to get it all to work, and today we'll be working on the Mandrill enclosure. So the tropical trail is based on the African rainforest, so the animals in order which are going to be in this section of the zoo go as follows: lemurs, mandrills, Nile monitors, bongos, okapis, and finish with the gorillas. Currently I'm just working on a back wall area for the mandrills so that they can only be viewed from one side of the path. However, I'm making a walkway through this sort of gorge area for the guests who are going like a back way past the pandas, but if they don't really want to see the mandrills, or if they're walking to another section of the zoo. So the first thing I'm doing with this enclosure is adding in a climbing frame. Now this climbing frame I've downloaded from the Steam workshop. It is fantastic. The only problem with it for mandrills is that the vines are from South America, but they still climb on them, which is fantastic. So I've used that in combination with a couple of previous assets that I've made for my lemurs, the little huts and the big tree climbing frame, which I believe is a combination of my own work and another Steam downloaded asset which I've modified. I forgot who did it. I'll chuck up on screen who made the big climbing frame asset really quick. So currently I'm working on a rocky back wall where the rocks are protruding from the gorge landscape at the back. Unfortunately, the advanced move tool didn't seem to be working for me. Every time I pressed X, it just wouldn't work. So all of the rocks are unfortunately pretty, well, I guess two-dimensional. I'm not able to rotate them as much as I would like, unfortunately. So you can see it sometimes works occasionally, but it's very inconsistent. And I've tried fiddling with it, and it was only working sometimes. So I had to restart my game and do all that, restart the zoo, and yeah, it was a bit of a pain. Unfortunately, it meant that later on a large portion of my work wasn't recorded because I forgot to press record or something, or it crashed. I don't really remember, but you'll notice a couple of big jumps, and I'm very sorry about that. That's wasn't supposed to happen. So currently I'm working on the barrier. I would like to have a bit of a null barrier up the back for this environment and let the rocks block off the mandrills from escaping the enclosure. I've used null barriers a little bit, but they're a little bit risky to use. You've got to make sure that everything is perfectly done so that you don't have escaped animals. To add a little bit more character to the rock wall at the back, I've decided to add, or to change some of the section into hard shelter for the animals, creating like a little cave sort of area against the back wall. You'll see this getting created in a sec. I just sort of have to complete the barrier so that the mandrills can't escape. So as you can see, we have a platform here, and I can extend the platform using rocks and just sort of make the rock wall go all the way around it so that we can create like a couple of little resting places where I can add food, enrichment items, sleeping areas, all that sort of stuff. And that way the mandrills have a little place to hide up the back so that they aren't constantly getting looked at by the viewers. So yeah, like I was saying before, the advanced move tool wasn't working for this, which made it kind of difficult, especially when I needed to rotate some of the things upright. It just wasn't working. I had to place down one and then click it individually and move around like that. It was a bit frustrating, but I managed to get some work done on it. And then also I decided to add some rocks to the front, create a little viewing area for the guests, except separate it a little bit so that there wasn't just a singular wall that's unbroken, because that doesn't really look that realistic. I like to add some variety to my viewing areas. As you can see, I'm adding some rocks over the top just to make it blend in more naturally. Also made sure to have all my barriers to have climb-proof tops, which is very important. I didn't want the Mandrill's escape. So yeah, at this point I'm going to change up the format of the video slightly. I'm just going to let it run and let the speed build play out, just have a little bit of music in the background. Let me know what you think of this format in comparison to the other one where I'm talking all the way through it and giving full commentary. I'll listen to your feedback in the comments section down below, and just listen to that moving forward, see what you all prefer. Also, I will point out that I'm working on a little creek down the bottom there. That's why I added a couple of rocks, just to add a little bit of water to the enclosure and break up the land a little bit. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. I will add a little more commentary towards the end before I transition into the cinematics.
Let the sun go down. We ain't gotta sleep. We're sailing towards the ending. We're sailing towards the ending. We're sailing towards the ending. Let the sun go down.
Alright, so the enclosure is essentially done at this point. I'm just adding a little lookout area to the path because the viewers, or the first guests that walked past, were complaining that they couldn't see the mandrills properly. So I'm adding another area. As you can see, I was having a lot of glitches where the guests were all re-pouring in and it was causing problems with frame rate. So yeah, we're just sort of separating them out a little bit, letting the zoo run. Unfortunately, you can't really let the zoo run as such in this game without causing a whole bunch of other problems for the animals, and you constantly have to look after them, so it's a bit of a pain, but I had to adjust my settings a little bit. So anyway, I'm creating a little lookout area for the guests where they can look over to the back wall where the mandrills like to be playing. It helps increase guest happiness with the enclosure just a little bit. Unfortunately, I will not be able to show me making the rest of this build because the game crashed, but I will cut to what it looks like at the end. Anyway, I hope you all have enjoyed watching this video. If you have, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment, smash that notification button. I don't know, maybe let's try and hit 100 likes and I'll upload the next part in this series, and share this video with your friends and on forums, all that sort of stuff, if you are inspired and want to see more content from me. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Roll the cinematics.